Hello everybody, welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Serge.
And my name is James.
Didn't miss a beat.
Welcome back, boy.
Yeah, and back conveniently, like pretty much through a game week, because let's be honest, one more game today, Burnley Everton's today. Tomorrow night, and it doesn't really matter.
No, you did a right. If all the weeks you could have picked to be one day late back from holiday, it was this week.
Yes, indeed. But I am back, and we are back into Fantasy Premier League, and we really are into the... It feels to me like the final stretch now.
Oh, after the March Internationals, it feels like
it's
the running.
Like, this is it now, really. And it's weird because in one way, you can kind of take your foot off the gas. It's like, okay, it's just the running now. We'll just kind of go through the motions and see it out to the end of the season. But there are some mad gains to be had. So I think people need to really think hard. Like, if you're a very serious player, you're going to be properly into it and getting ready to make some moves.
How was your game week? Like, did you miss the deadline?
No, I didn't miss the deadline. I did try, like, Sky is a question for another day. I did try and sort my Sky team out, but no VPNs, no nothing. So I was a bit screwed. But then I'm playing for the May Manager of the Month in Sky anyway. So
okay.
It wasn't really a big deal. I made no transfers, as I sent to you for the differential show for the Patreons, and let it roll. Carried on. I played Trent, even though I didn't think he would start or play, because I had first choice.
Well, we got confirmation that he was highly likely not to be in the team about 5 minutes before deadline.
Yeah.
So I shoved him to third on the bench. I mean, it obviously didn't matter in the end.
No, exactly that. I rolled with Trossard. It was like this guy is stinking out my team for ages. But Norwich at home,
I feel like
I can't sell him for Norwich at home for Brighton, surely.
Yeah, but then that's the position I was in
each and every week
prior to the double they had.
Yeah.
And Az was like, just on black boxes, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think Sam Murray was the same FPLC goal as well.
The thing is, that I wanted to give myself the option of a 3-way transfer this week without taking the -8. So rolling the transfer now gives me a few more interesting options this week. So yeah, ended up, I'm on 50 points at the moment, which is still a rank rise from 245 to 220 something.
That's decent this week.
It's not bad. De Gea 2 points. I didn't expect anything from him because I predicted a 1-1 draw. But Cancelo, Rudiger, and Robertson all returned. Rudiger in the way that I didn't expect him to return, but he still returned.
He had 6 shots at the weekend.
It's mad, isn't it? He loves it. He loves a shot. And then it was your boys, Kulu and Sonny.
I saw someone had posted, forgive me, I forget who it was. Rudiger's, I don't know how many shots he's had this season, but he takes at least one weldy long ranger every week, doesn't it? It was inevitable that eventually one was going to fly. I think his XG for the whole season is about 0.56 or something.
Yeah. But I mean, he does love a shot from outside the box, and he gets the odd header as well. But yeah, it was your boys, Son and Kulusevski, that also then picked me up points. Salah captain, like everybody else, was a blank. And Sonny over the last 2 game weeks over Kane has been a bit of a touch that I've been, I say, stuck with Son. I ended up making that choice a while ago. Had no route or money to get to Kane, and in the end, over the last 2 game weeks, he's been pretty decent.
Do not sell Heung-min Son before home games.
No, exactly. For the 100th time. I've still got Wout Weghorst to go.
Oh yeah, boy.
That's gonna take my 50 points to 70 by the end of this game week, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think the difference between us in our game week is essentially you've got Son for my Harry Kane basically. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I've got quite a number of returns, but none of them more than 6. To Cancelo, Rudiger, Robertson, Kulusevski. I captain Salah as well. Harry Kane 4. I did see quite a number of people captain Kane actually.
Yeah.
Which I understand with Tottenham's form in home games recently, and I'm sure there's a few went Heung-min Son as well. So I'm on 41 with Weghorst. Actually, no, that's a lie. I'm on 43 because I've got Ryan Fraser coming off the bench for Kieran Tierney. I'm on 43 with Weghorst to go as well, sitting small dip down to about 77k. I've already made a transfer.
Wow, why so early?
The first early transfer I've made, I think, since probably November or at least early December.
A price rise and drop?
So yesterday when I left the office...
It's so interesting because I was just about to say to you, what are your early Game Week 32 thoughts?
In fact, before I tell the story, let me ask you, who do you think I bought?
Doherty.
Yes.
Doherty. This is fun. Like, I was in Dubai. I was at the weekend, so I went to meet the Dubai Hammers at this pub that they meet at, and a couple of other lads came out to say hello. Alex and a guy called John, lovely lad, FPL. We sat down before the West Ham game. We were just having a chat. And he's like, I could do with my 15-pointer from Doherty. We all just pissed ourselves laughing. Yeah, right, okay, you're going to get a 15-pointer. And then he replied back to me afterwards. He goes, I'll settle for my 14 points then or whatever else. He's on fire at the moment.
The Irish Cafu turned into the Irish Roberto Carlos at the weekend.
He's on fire at the moment, Doherty. I mean, you can't argue with it.
He's doing really well. He's still so average and basic, but he's got fit. He's playing well. It's all down to the manager and down to Doherty in terms of his improvement as well. He's doing pretty well. And it's the ceiling of him, right? I left the office yesterday waiting on the fixture announcement. We knew it was coming. I'd had a heads up about an hour before the fixtures were officially released in terms of what they were going to be. And Luke Disable, who's one of our patrons, he'd seen it as well. And we were meshing, and we've got quite similar teams at the moment. And he was asking me in terms of, but he's out of chips, whereas I've got a lot left. He was asking my opinion in terms of where do you think I should go and stuff, ideas. And I said, well, it's up to Luke what he does, obviously. But I'd said to him, I've rolled a transfer this week, and I'm looking at my team for this week, and I'm thinking, there's nothing I want to do. I'm quite happy with what I've got. I said to Luke, I need an injury. I'd almost be happy at the moment to have an injury that just forced my hand and went, you got to get rid of him. And sure enough, Kieran Tierney gave me that opportunity last night. So I don't think it was anything to think about. I had 0.1 in the bank, the very similar price. And I kind of want to raise a point that Flapjack from the FPL Surgery tweeted. And I think this was absolutely perfect in terms of what he said about Tottenham assets at the moment. So he'd said yesterday, he said like many people wildcarded in 28 and obviously went treble Spurs ahead of obviously the double in 29. And he raised a really good point about the points of the 4 Tottenham players, Doherty, Kulusevski, Son and Kane, since game week 28. Because I tweeted yesterday morning as well. I said, I want 4 Tottenham players. I can't believe what's happening here. Points since game week 28. Kulusevski 29, Doherty 37, Son 39, Kane 44. But as he adds, considering Kulusevski is 5 million less than Son, the difference there of 10 points is fine. Son's 1.5 million less than Kane. He's 5 points behind Kane. It's fine. And he said, doesn't really matter. Own the 3 that you want and worry about something else. Mm-hmm. And so that's now the position I've put myself in.
Yeah. I wanted to get to 3 Spurs attackers for the run-in because you got the doubles.
I would have rather had that.
The double's a bit meh, but the game against Arsenal now has a lot riding on it, right? So I don't.
But you and I have got the wild card left, so it doesn't matter. We're making immediate decisions.
But so the point being, like, if I want Son, Kane, and Kulusevski, but money then becomes a problem. Doherty's fine. So I was having a thought on the weekend, and it got me back down to a pod we recorded with our mini league winner a while ago about sacking off the bench and almost making it a 9-man game. Like, just stick a couple of ringers in and make it a 9-man game, because then you can get 9 really good players if you're happy to whack a 4.5 midfielder or defender into it. But I really want 5 good defenders, because Reece James, Rudiger, the usual suspects, TAA, Robbo, Cancelo, obviously, are all really, really good, right? And they're not silly money. But then Doherty, Johnny Otter at Wolves has put his hand back up, and still got a lot of love for him.
They blanking 33.
That's true. We're now free hit. So, would I rather buy Doherty or Johnny?
Their fixtures are rough after 33.
If I buy Johnny, then it means that I can still have Kane rather than Doherty being my third.
Please make sure you buy a Johnny. That's good advice for everyone.
Indeed. But yeah, there's great 4.5 wing backs defenders at the moment in the game that I need to really have a think about, and not just as bench fodder, but to play.
This is the thing with Doherty as well, right? I wouldn't put him in the kind of bracket, even from an FPL perspective, of Robertson, Trent, Cancelo, Reece James, right?
Because those guys got consistency over a long period.
The reason I obviously went early last night was it was going to go up. He did go up. He's still only 4.9. And at the moment, he's going to play every game.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying it, but he's playing too well.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. We're going to go through all the games as we do. We'll rattle through. Some have much less interest than others. I didn't watch Brighton 0, Norwich 0, did you?
No. But there's a few couple of things out of it, potentially, as there always is with something. Before we do that, do you know what you want to do with transfers this week?
Not the foggiest, mate.
Okay, fine. I've got an idea, but we'll talk about it when we come back to Liverpool.
For my team or just in general?
What do you mean in general?
Well, you've got an idea... Like an idea of what I should do with my transfers, or just...
Oh, I don't care what's in your team.
So what do you mean? You've got an idea about what?
About what my other transfer is going to be. Because I've still got one free, haven't I?
Yes.
As the other part of the reason in terms of going early, I've still got one
and if you're
free transfer.
Followed by a wild card, you may as well use it.
Well, I'm probably not going to free hit 33. But I think what we're going to do on Friday is, because it's a Friday deadline, so I won't do my Ask James stream on Friday. 36.
So you're going to leave your free hit for 37, 38 now, you think?
Well, I've a free hit 37 for me, I think. Pretty confident of that now.
Okay.
I'd said to you a couple of weeks ago, so if Villa Burnley goes into 37, that's the one fixture that I think will alter my plan. And I was going cold on the 33 free hit anyway, because of the fixtures of City, Liverpool, Tottenham, that game week anyway, even Chelsea to a lesser extent as well. And I've got plenty of coverage from these teams, so... No, I think I'm not going to ride with many doublers in 33. I'm just going to go through. I don't think the fixture's too good. I'm probably looking at, like, as it is, benching like Kulusevski and Rudiger in 33, probably as it stands.
Bench
so,
boost?
No.
Definitely not.
No.
I'm with you, doublers.
Not enough. I think the real risk with 33 bench boosts is things like, it's no guarantee that, like, Cancelo even plays. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
We know we go into the doubles and we're like, oh, will he play twice? Well, I don't want to have suddenly where my bench boost is just the goalkeeper and Rudiger all of a sudden. Do you know what I mean? There is that risk.
Yeah, bench boost always. Whacking 4 double game week players gives you 8 potential swings at bat. And even if you get 6, that's 12 points to start with anyway.
In terms of free hit strategy, we're going to do a little pod on Friday. Only 25 minutes, half hour or so. We're going to look a little bit more at I think particularly the free hit options. So like 33, 36, 37, even 38. 38's gaining a little bit of traction because if I think of the teams that have landed with doubles 36, 37, some of them have got awful 38 fixtures.
Right.
Whereas you look all the way through, and even if you look at, say, 37, and this is similar to 33, where the teams that we have ownership of currently, the likes of Tottenham, Liverpool, City, etc., have good fixtures. But I think 37, there's extra for me rather than 33. That's why I'm going to lean that way. Anyway, we'll talk about that a lot more on Friday. What I do want to cover off briefly is obviously the fixture announcement that we did get. So we've got some confirmed doubles and just want to clarify a couple of permutations. So game week 36, we've now got 10 teams doubling. Arsenal, Leeds at home, Tottenham away. Aston Villa, Burnley away, Liverpool at home. Chelsea at home. Chelsea got Wolves at home, Leeds away. Everton, Leicester and Watford away. Leeds, a tough double. Arsenal away, Chelsea at home. Leicester, Everton at home, Norwich at home. I hope they're out of Europe, mate. With that wild card level, I really, really do.
Yeah.
Liverpool, Tottenham at home, Villa away. Manchester City could still have a double, come back onto that. Norwich got West Ham at home, Leicester away, Tottenham, the tough double, as you said, Liverpool away, Arsenal at home. But Tottenham's fixtures before and afterwards are great.
And that Arsenal game is at your place, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's now confirmed.
There's so much riding on it now that it's not as tough as... I mean, I think that the gap's closed, right? In the last 2-3 weeks, you feel not from a points point of view, but even from a points point of view. But the game is very even.
The worst kept secret for a number of weeks. Thursday, May 12th was the date that we'd thought it was going to be for a while. That's what it is. I love people tagging Daily Mail articles. Tottenham are going to play in the penultimate week of the season. People tagging it going, oh my God. Hold on, it's old news, mate. We know it's going. I really always thought the police were not going to want Tottenham's last home game to be Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I think the way it's landed in terms of City, Liverpool going for the title, it was always going to fall into 36. So there's some doubles announced for 37 as well. So Villa, great double 37. Palace at home, Burnley at home. And of course,
back-to-back doubles.
Exactly, but it might not be a back-to-back double because obviously if Palace get to the cup final, we'll come back to that. What would happen to that fixture? Burnley have got Tottenham away, Villa away, 37. Chelsea back-to-back doubles. Probably United away and Leicester at home. That also might not be a double though. Crystal Palace, Villa away, Everton at home. Again, that might not be a double. Everton, Brentford at home, Crystal Palace at home. That will be Leicester, Watford away and Chelsea away. That's what we've got. Now, a few of the fixtures could still move. So what happens in terms of the FA Cup semi-finals is quite important. And the only fixture that has not been arranged anywhere yet is Wolves versus Manchester City. United Chelsea has been penciled in for the Sunday in game week 37, the original date for that fixture, but could still move. So a lot of people are trying to work out whether City are going to double in 36 or 37. Won't be both. So City's first fixture in 36 is Newcastle at home. They're scheduled to play West Ham away on the weekend of 37, and you've got the Wolves away fixture hanging. Let me try and simplify this for you. If West Ham beat Lyon in Europa League, Wolves versus Manchester City has to go into game week 37. And that's purely on the basis that West Ham will then have a Europa League semi-final in the midweeks of 34 and 35. You need clarity by this point in terms of... So you've got to leave 36 open for West Ham Man City because the Europa League final, should you win said semi-final, is in the midweek of 37. So if you beat Lyon, Wolves Man City is going to go into 37. Obviously, if City don't beat Liverpool in the FA Cup semi-final, then West Ham Man City stays where it is, Sunday, 4:30, game week 37. And then Wolves versus Man City could go either way. Obviously, if you lose to Lyon, they could do whatever they want with it. It might be that the Wolves game goes into 36 and the West Ham game moves from the weekend in 37 to the midweek 37. That stays a single. I think in terms of the probability at the moment, I mean, City, Liverpool FA Cup semi-final probably gives City slight advantage, probably 55-60%, but it's a bit of a flip. But you're definitely favourites against Lyon. Mm-hmm. They're about, 8th or 9th in France at the moment.
They're not doing particularly great.
Admittedly, you're similar position in the Premier League, but our league is stronger.
The gap is very tight. It's like 3 points separates quite a few.
I would make you favourites against Lyon.
Yeah, for sure.
So the probability at the moment is that Wolves Man City will go into 37. And then to determine which game week City will double in is very dependent on City's FA Cup semi-final result. Lose, double 37. Win, double 36. Also, they have, as per usual, like they did with not putting Villa Burnley in 33, made a right cock-up, in my opinion, by leaving the Manchester United-Chelsea game spare. What they want to do is show Manchester United versus Chelsea at 7 o'clock on the Sunday in game week 37. Sky have got the rights for it. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to show the normal Super Sunday at 4:30, and they wanted to show Manchester United against Chelsea on the Sunday night at 7 o'clock. Now, Chelsea are obviously favourites to beat Crystal Palace in the FA Cup semi-final. Well done last night, Eagles. Enjoyed that. So if Chelsea beat Crystal Palace, make the FA Cup final, that Manchester United fixture has got to move. There are a couple of different options for it. The most likely, in my opinion, is it will move forward to the Tuesday in the same game week, which would then, it'd still just be a single fixture, obviously, for United. It would then be a double for Chelsea, as it looks right now, but you're looking at them playing twice in 3 days, Tuesday and Thursday. There are some alternatives to that. The fixture, obviously, can't be brought forward to 36 because Chelsea's fixture with Leeds has been put on the Wednesday. I do note, however, there is no Monday night game in game week 36. And as ridiculous as it sounds, I don't think it's impossible they make Chelsea play Saturday, Monday, Wednesday. Which would be, and I'll make this a 1% chance, a Chelsea treble game week.
Okay.
Ahead of an FA Cup final 3 days later. Now, I think that probability is extremely unlikely. 35 is the obvious solution if Chelsea lose to Real Madrid, right? Well, it's not. And the reason for that is Sky have selected coverage of the week before of Manchester United versus Burnley on the Monday night in game week 35. And they've also selected Manchester United's trip to Brighton as the 5:30 game on the Saturday. So suddenly they'd be making Manchester United play twice within 3 days. They have right balls this up, honestly, mate.
Oh, no.
So, game week 34 for Manchester United and Chelsea is a possibility. Now, we'd thought Villa-Burnley was probably going to get brought into 34 to avoid the idea of Villa-Burnley playing twice in a row. That's obviously now been moved back into 37. And that creates another problem. The problem if Crystal Palace beat Chelsea instead. Because Palace and Villa, scheduled for 37, can't move to that midweek because Villa are now playing Burnley. And it can't be brought forward to the midweek before because Villa play Liverpool. So where does that go? Probably 35. So I think the most likely option if Chelsea win the semi-final is, I think, what I'd always thought was Chelsea would have to play twice in 3 days, which is really unfair. It's also, if they bring it forward to 34, there's conflict in terms of will UEFA allow it to be clashing with, say, even a West Ham Europa League semi-final? Say West Ham Barcelona.
Yeah.
There's every chance. Are they going to want Sky to show United Chelsea that night? I don't know. Doubtful. It probably would be the Thursday night rather than clashing with the Champions League semi-finals Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
So 34 for United v Chelsea is now a possibility. You cannot know until the deadline for 33 has been and gone because it's dependent on Chelsea's semi-final result, which is that weekend. In terms of planning for it, tough. I think it's more likely to stay in 37, as said, and Chelsea will play twice. Should Palace, obviously if Palace beat Chelsea, then it would probably be 7 o'clock on the Sunday, which is what Sky want to do. I think the Palace Villa game would be brought forward to 35. That does fit into that midweek, give the fans a little bit more notice. And that would, interestingly, give Crystal Palace a double game week of Southampton away and Villa at home. It would give, it's at Villa, isn't it? So Southampton away and Villa away. It would give Villa a double of Norwich at home and Crystal Palace at home, if it happens. United's 34 double, if that happened, would be Arsenal away and Chelsea at home, so not great. And Chelsea would be West Ham at home and United away, also not great. But you'd still be interested in in United's case. Obviously, it would be you're looking suddenly at double, aren't you?
Yep.
If obviously that happens, but you're not going to know. There's no way of knowing that before the first double if the second one might happen. I'd say. Me and Ben Crellin were DMing each other last night. He thinks the 34 possibility is probably slightly more likely than I do. But I think it's still unlikely. I think the 37 and Chelsea playing twice in 3 days is the most likely option. But you should be aware that I think United-Chelsea 34 is now a possibility. 35 is only a possibility if they move one of them Man United fixtures, i.e. if they move Brentford from the Monday night back to the Saturday night, which feels pretty unfair on Brentford fans who probably, as we know, had to book train tickets in advance, etc. Or they move United's trip to Brighton back to, say, 12 o'clock on the Sunday. I don't think that's likely. Sky got Man United 5:30 on a Saturday. I think they'd want to keep it there.
Yep.
So 35 doesn't really work.
Well, it will unfold as it does. Doesn't affect necessarily your chip strategy. I mean, it kind of sort of, you're thinking 37 now might be an interesting one for a free hit.
It's still a little bit dependent on the cup semis. I think, as I said, and we'll talk about it more Friday, I think 38 is the fallback for the free hit. If you just get that, it's not for me. I like the way it's set at the moment. There's enough difference in the 37 and the 36 doubles to make me think, yeah, I can go that team for a bench boost and I can go that team in 37 for a free hit. That's what I'm looking at the moment. I like the bench boost players. I'd probably go 36 rather than those with doubles. 37 looks better. 38 for me as well. That's what I'm thinking at the moment, but I'm open to it. I'm not free hitting 33 now.
Definitely
I don't think not unless I was to walk into injuries and stuff, and then that might be me wild card straight after in 34. But I'm now looking to wild card 35. Obviously, there's teams who've got doubles, right? As it stands,
Leicester,
Villa's one, Chelsea's another, Everton and Leicester's are locked in basically. But in the case of like Leicester, wild carding in 35 to know what they're doing in weeks at the moment, it's a mare. I'd rather just go week in advance, go, yeah, I want them, and if I'm going to free hit them afterwards in 37. Their 36 double is great, right? Everton and Norwich at home. I mean, if Jamie Vardy's back, that's captaincy for me.
Yep.
Which, segue.
What, if Jamie Vardy's back? Well, we're talking about Leicester, Liverpool first.
Yeah, that's your segue.
Why?
I'm thinking of selling Mo Salah. Now, I'm also thinking of going without him for the rest of the season. And I think it has to be that cut and dry in my mind to know once I commit to it, that's it. I'm going without.
There was a big debate at the start of the season of which three Liverpool. And it was Trent and Salah and then Jota or Robertson is what it felt like. And then Robbo wasn't doing particularly great, so Jota was clearly the standout. You got injured, wasn't around, fine. Made it easy to go Trent, Robbo and Salah. And then in this game, Jota reminds us with a firm slap in the face that actually what a good asset he is. Would you, if you sold Mo Salah, I'm assuming you'd buy Jota or Diaz or have one of the other attacking players from Liverpool?
Yes, down the line. But the one I'd be looking at right now is having committed to the Doherty transfer is Bruno Fernandes.
Right, okay. So you might even go without Jota or any Liverpool attacker.
Well, Liverpool got City away this weekend, so
yes,
I'm not desperate to go Salah to Jota this week. They've got United at home in 33, which I'm pretty sure the way United are playing at the moment, they'll pull their pants down. But I'm looking at it and going, 34 I could wild card. So if I realise this is a bad error and need to fix it, I can. Wild card 34, Salah back in, captain, home to Everton in the Merseyside derby. Although I think that game's scheduled for the Sunday at the moment, it could move back to the Saturday if Liverpool have a Champions League fixture, semi-final on the Tuesday afterwards. But I still think that 3-day gap, I'll be honest with you, Everton are so wank at the moment, and it wouldn't be unheard of for Klopp to really rotate his forward players home to Everton. I've done that in the past. I beat Everton 5-2 midweek game in December a couple of years ago, and he rested Salah for the Merseyside derby. They still battered them. So I wouldn't even say he's locked in. He's the obvious on paper best captaincy in 34.
They do have FA Cup and Champions League and what have you, like their fixture congestion. I just look at it and it's not like as crazy a decision as it would have been maybe 3 months ago.
By the way, and I'm going to caveat this. This isn't digging out Salah because his numbers are still absolutely brilliant, by the way, and I'll clarify that. Who you captain 33 as it stands?
I hadn't decided yet.
Yeah, well, it's time to start thinking about it.
Hadn't decided yet.
And there's that as well. So I'm thinking, right, Bruno, Norwich at home in the first fixture. No midweek fixture before. He definitely plays against Norwich. Then we'll take the bonus of the probable 2 points at Liverpool. I'm looking at Bruno captain now, 33 possibly. Because otherwise, unless I shove Kane to Ronaldo, which is a no-go for me, then what am I doing? I'm captaining a single game week player. I could actually end up captaining Salah at home to Man United and just going, sod it. Is EO still going to be high? I'm going to go with that. So, and I haven't decided this for sure, but what I'm thinking is, let's get Bruno, Everton away this weekend, better fixture than Salah. He's got the double 33, the bonus of the brilliant Norwich home fixture, captain in 33, and it's just covered. It might even land at his 34 double as well. Now, admittedly, it's Arsenal and Chelsea, but with the double, Bruno, I'd probably rock with that, I think, actually. And then wild card afterwards, if that's the way it panned out. The 34 possibility is not influencing this decision, by the way, because if it doesn't happen, the plan would then be Fernandes to Jota, 34, wild card afterwards. But obviously, I could make that decision nearer the time based on what I think in terms of potential Liverpool rotation, basically. So that's what I'm thinking, and that then also would allow me potentially to dive in on Sonny instead of Kulusevski. If I decided I want to upgrade that, I'd just about have enough money to pull that off, probably. Salah, statistics. So there's been a lot of, Salah's not playing well, yada, yada, yada. And I'm going to give our mate Luke another shout-out, disabled.
Not Luke. Sorry, that moan came after you said I give Luke a shout. That's not what I meant. It was meant at the people pulling out stats on Salah to try and make a narrative.
Luke's already turned off with offence. Luke's guesting on Black Box, by the way, tomorrow night. Cheap
nice.
Plug. He's not paid me for these cheap plugs, by the way. I promise you.
Play.
So he's listed Salah's non-penalty expected goal involvement throughout the season and separated it. So Gameweeks 1 to 18, right? Before he pissed off to AFCON and stuff. Numbers incredible. 18 starts. Non-penalty goals and assists, 22 in 18 starts. Averaging a 0.73 non-penalty expected goal involvement per game. So Gameweeks 19 to 31, the numbers have tailed off, right? I think he's had 4 goals in that period. Non-penalty expected goal involvement for Salah during those 9 starts that he's had in that period, 0.97. Numbers are going up. It's just at the moment, the ball's not going in the net.
Yep.
So I didn't watch the game on Saturday, in all honesty. But whether he was, I don't think he even had a shot on target. But across this period, since he come back from AFCON, there is no dip in Mo Salah's data. If you look against Harry Kane, for example, I looked at statistics since New Year's Day on Understat. Highest XG since New Year's Day, Harry Kane, 8.73. Mo Salah second, 6.84. And you think, oh my God, Kane, 2 XG more than Salah since January the 1st. But when you break it down and consider Salah's only started 9 compared to Kane's 13, XG per 90, Harry Kane 0.67, Mo Salah 0.96. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. Extra goal every 3 games, near enough.
Yep.
So my potential decision to sell Mo Salah is not based on, I think he's underperforming. No, he's the best defensive player in the league, and I know he can kill me. I'm looking at it and asking myself reasonably, can I punch against him for these remaining weeks? I'm talking about this week I intend to captain Kane anyway, away to Villa, whether I keep Salah or not. 33, I'm talking about Bruno. 34 is the one that's, but if I feel like I've fucked it up, right, I can wildcard him back in.
Yeah.
And then looking further ahead at the other weeks, I'm not that bothered. 35, he's got Newcastle away. And there's other teams with decent fixtures in that week. 36, yes, he'll be the standout for the double. But I've already mentioned like Jamie Vardy or something, the punter's differential. Yeah. 37, there'll be other teams with doubles. Salah won't double. 38, the final game's Wolves at home. Kane away to Norwich. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the other weeks at the moment and asking myself, can I punt Sonny in home games, Kane in away games? Keep going. And when there's the doubles, like I wouldn't captain Kane or Son in 36. Can I look at others? And of course, if I really want to go Liverpool, got Trent as the fullback all the time. So I'd probably pencil that in 34 and go, I'll captain Trent against Everton. So I'm beginning to wonder, and it was also what prompted me to think about it was looking at a potential bench boost team. If I was to wildcard in 35, which is the most likely option for myself, and looking at the bench boost team I could put together for the 36 and the final day for free hit 37, with and without Mo Salah. And the team I can get to by having Jota in there rather than Mo Salah is unbelievably different.
Yeah.
The bench boost would look terrible with Mo Salah.
But a lot better without, obviously.
Of course.
Spread it nice and thin. No surprises in Liverpool 2, Watford 0. Watford still on the brink there, but I mean, Everton losing at the weekend as well has kept them right in it. So Watford still in with a chance of getting out of it. You don't expect to go to Anfield and pick up any points anyway.
No, and they had a couple of chances early on. Kucha had a great chance at 0-0, which was really well saved by Alisson. I recorded with obviously Johnny and Dan to preview the City-Liverpool game on Sunday night. And Dan was saying, like, keep giving up chances in early games. There's a little bit of a theme recurring to, remember that period when Alisson got injured early in the season a couple of years ago, but they kept giving up chances early in the game. He said they're starting games slow. They can't afford to do that on Sunday because City kill you in 20 minutes if you start slow there. I think they'll go there and start fast. The notable one for Watford is obviously Dennis and King.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're still sitting there with them, they were probably sitting on your bench, but both substitutes. Ismail Assar back fit 5.7, and Watford's double in 36 is not bad. potentially
Maybe on the
on
wildcard
radar. The problem is there's so many decent midfield options and there aren't many good forward options. So Cucho, Dennis, King, and even now João Pedro all stay as kind of a watching brief at the moment because there might remain some interest. Obviously, Ben Foster handy as well.
Yeah, of course.
As the obvious for wildcard, I'd just say, yep, save the budget, fine. I'll have his double in 36, which is, I think it's Palace and Everton, Watford have got. So it's not even that bad a double either. So that's ideal for bench boosters. Keep hold of Ben Foster at the moment if you're intending to bench boost in 36. For Liverpool, you're not buying this week, are you?
No.
I would play the players. We were fairly unanimous on that, me, Johnny and Dan. Whatever you've got, just play it and let it be City and Liverpool players.
Yeah. Brighton 0, Norwich 0. I did mention that this was not the most exciting, but any game when Neil Maupay misses a penalty has got a bit of value in it.
Good afternoon, YouTube Maupay guy.
I was watching our game against Everton and thinking, like, imagine if Brighton bought Richarlison. Could that be the most dislikable front two in the world? Maupay and Richarlison.
I mean, to be fair, Cresswell should have got sent off on Sunday. Can I just say that?
What, for the kick?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
see
a
the
red
replay
card.
properly, but he kicked out. He kicked out. Did he kick the ball in his face? Is that how it looked?
No, Richarlison went to grab the ball. Cresswell just kicked him, mate. He should have gone. He was lucky. Anyway.
I would have kicked him too. But yeah.
You'd want to be a few goals ahead more. Anyway, what we're talking about, Brighton, Norwich. Oh yeah, not too much to say. We'll cover it briefly. Brighton played usually for them something weird and wonderful where McAllister played more of a kind of deep lying role. They had so much of the ball. Sky listeners will notice Lewis Dunk always hits passing tiers in games like this, right? Nah, he only had about 47 passes because Brighton's territorial advantage was so massive in this game. The ball wasn't going backwards. 30 shots I think they had, but not that many on target. Obviously had Maupay's penalty miss. This was better from Brighton, but actually credit to Norwich as well because it went into the weekend with a lot of injuries. No Aarons, no Williams in the back line. They had to change their fullbacks and stuff. Grant Hanley being back was a welcome boost to them. And it was interesting, obviously recorded with Sam and Mark to preview the game last week. And their reaction afterwards said a lot for those two teams at the moment. Sam said Norwich were even worse than he thought they were. And Mark said he thought Brighton were even worse than he thought they were because they couldn't put his team away. Yeah. Brighton's next 3 league games, Arsenal away, Tottenham away, Man City away. Surely you are not keeping Trossard now.
No, he's gone.
Even despite...
I mean,
you're not looking at it going, it's the 33 double Tottenham and Man City away. Surely not.
He is gone.
What's the thinking?
Well, I've got a fullback, which is Jacob Ramsey. Just go down to the cheapest possible player that I'm happy as bench fodder and ride him through. And then use the money elsewhere.
I'll tell you who Suja's going to buy.
I want to buy Saka.
I thought you wanted a budget player.
No. That's the fallback option is going down in budget.
Okay.
But I'd rather figure out a way of getting to Saka, and that depends what my second and third moves are.
Do you want the name to consider?
Dennis is going to be bin this week as well, and I might go Dennis to Gelhardt. That might give me more money to around with.
Consider Dewsbury Hall. Honestly, we'll talk about him in a bit. I was absolutely brilliant at Old Trafford on Saturday. In fact, him and James Maddison were the most enjoyable aspects of that game. There were 2 very good performances for Leicester. Brighton players go now, I think. Sanchez, even depending on what you're doing, you consider moving on. Even the budget stuff for Joel Veltman and stuff, unless you're just happy for it to sit third sub and you're out of chips, of course. But in terms of if you've got Brighton players and you're starting, I think like the likes of Cucurella is more expensive. If you've got that, you're moving that on now, I'm fairly sure. Norwich, with the double they've got towards the end, I'm not ruling out Timu Pukki being part of the wild card for me further ahead. That double for them, West Ham at home, Leicester away, is not brilliant. But as we discussed last week, he's consistent as... If Norwich score, he's the most likely boy by a distance. And actually, me, Sam and Mark, we all agreed last week, pre-game, we'd rather bought Pukki than Maupay.
Yeah, agree.
And Pukki got 2 more points than him. So Pukki might be one where there's no interest in him. and he's ideal for kind of the third forward for a bench boost. I'll keep him in mind, but there's nothing else I'd consider from these two.
No. Burnley lost to Man City 2-0. I thought Burnley might get themselves on the score sheet here because City, when they go into cruise control, sometimes can leak the odd goal, but not so much. Now, City is always, like we in our minus 56 game, I punted Mahrez. It was absolutely a punt, was Riyad Mahrez. Is it down to now, like, if you want reliability, get your wallet out and pay the money for KDB, basically, because he's ticking along nicely. If you're looking back at the last kind of 10, 12 game weeks, 7, 8, 12, then a 2 or 3, and then another 11, then a 2 or 3, then an 8.
So
he's decent, Kevin De Bruyne, as ticking along, you know.
Last Monday, when Tom Campbell so wonderfully stood in for you, wasn't he good?
Yes.
Fucking upgrade. We were talking about Mahrez as a differential, and I said to Tom, he's definitely going to play them 2 Champions League semi-finals against Atletico, I think. Thinking back to the fact that Guardiola wouldn't use Sterling and Jesus against Palace. Remember when he didn't make no subs? Because you're not going to get him behind Atletico. So he'd rather have the goal Mahrez being able to come inside, and obviously
Mahrez
is
Burnley,
kind of the boy
right?
for them.
Burnley are going to sit in, and you want someone to break them down.
What's the more important game? Do you trust the others to deal with Burnley? And actually, when you look at the goals, City got in behind Burnley's left-hand side, actually. Dwight McNeil, something's not right there. Actually concerned about him. So, yeah, I mean, if you're doing that and you're saying, okay, yeah, right, so it's the same problem against Burnley, but do you trust the others to deal with the problem against Burnley, or do you want Mahrez against Atletico, don't you? I think that's what he's looking at. So, no doubt Mahrez probably won't play tonight now.
Exactly that. You know what I mean? It's like, I bet you Mahrez
did you see his presser yesterday?
Pep?
Yeah.
He was salty.
So good. So good when he was asked if he overthinks it, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to overthink it again. Yeah. I'm going to come up with a new tactic tonight. The thing is, I think he was joking, but he was so deadpan about it. I'm not overly sure, and it wouldn't be beyond him to suddenly go, yeah, shit, I'm going to play 4-1-5 tonight. Watch, I'll show you, because he fancies himself like that, doesn't he? City players, and it was interesting. I'd noticed Andy, Let's Talk FPL, he tweeted saying that looking at his plans of future transfers, he was really concerned that there wasn't enough City involvement in there. And for those looking further ahead, obviously we've kind of said there's the either or with the 36 or 37 doubles, where we don't know where we stand. But I think for me, it'd just be Cancelo, I think.
Yeah, I can't see myself getting to another, and it's a really fancy being Maverick. And
the one I'm kind of hoping for me is a separator, and I think others free hitting in 37 will think the same. I'm kind of hoping Liverpool beat City in the Cup semi-final, and then City land with a 37 double and just a single 36. And it might be then I'd go completely without City on wild card, and obviously go with 3 on the free hit in 37. That would be the ideal for me at the moment. Burnley, big game tomorrow is the most important thing for them. And what's coming next? Norwich Sunday.
I'm absolutely gutted about the Michael Keane situation. He's bloody suspended now, isn't he? Rather he plays against Weghorst, trust me.
Well, you say that, but
what are they going to do?
They've got
Kenny
issues,
into centre back or something.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do, because obviously
might just drop back into centre back now rather than playing in midfield.
But then who plays in midfield?
I don't know. Dele Alli? Where's he?
Allen's suspended.
Where's Dele Alli?
I think he'd probably play Gomez in there. I don't know.
Oh.
Dele's... I've spoken. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Burnley, what you've got, you hold into this week, and this was the thing with Weghorst. To be honest, I think he could have got sent off, by the way.
Well, when he got the yellow?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if he catches him, was it Rodri went in a challenge with? If he caught him any higher, it's a red card. And it would have been Dennis 2.0, wouldn't it? I was joking, we obviously played football. A group of the South team met up Saturday. I was talking with Az from Black Box when he said Weghorst had got booked, and you're looking at it going, imagine not only the fact he got sent off, imagine he then misses Everton and Norwich. And the first game in the double, you'd be like, what? But I think the Burnley you hold at the moment, if you've gone in with Nick Pope and stuff, you've got Norwich at the weekend, you've got another double 33, then you're looking to move it on, I should imagine.
This game was like the what the fuck game of the weekend.
Burnley won't play 4-5-1 on tomorrow night like they did on Saturday either. Go on, sorry.
Well, Chelsea won, Brentford 4. looking at the Rudiger points for the goal, and a lot of people were debating Rudiger over James and all that kind of stuff, and it ended up being James benched and Rudiger finally gets to play. I think I need to check. I think Rudiger is the only ever present in my squad for the whole season. Maybe Trent has been as well. Other than that,
I sold him for a bit and regretted it, didn't I?
And he does like a shot from outside the box. Not that I'm saying that suddenly.
This is not the reason to have Antonio Rudiger in your team. And to be honest, until the Tierney injury, I was debating, well, if I'm not sure what to do here, should I just go Rudiger to James? Was thinking about it.
But Brentford on cloud 9.
Brilliant. And I'm going to do some analysis for the advanced tiers on this week's Talking Tactics of what they did differently and why it worked so well. And I'd also look back on the fixture they had at Leicester a little bit as well, because they really went and pressed intently. I watched all of this game back on Saturday night because it was the main game being shown again on Sky on Saturday evening. And Chelsea, mate, didn't have a shot on goal till 20 minutes, didn't have a shot on target till 30 minutes. Brentford could have been a couple of up in the first half hour. Really good. Pressed Chelsea hard. Changed system.
From time to time, Chelsea. It's just the performance just isn't quite there. They could comfortably go on and beat teams 3s and 4s. But
I come back onto them. Brentford played 3-5-2 and FPL Dummy Tom's coming on COTC Thursday. So we'd said before they played Newcastle, they had that run of 3 games. Newcastle, Norwich, Burnley. And I said, I think they're going to go back 4. And they did. But I didn't see the switch back coming. And they switched back to a back 3, and the midfield 5 worked really well. I mean, it was more like a 5-3-2, to be honest. The one real downside from the FPL perspective is it's no good for Tony. Tony needs that with kind of Mbumo and Vissa either side, or Canos playing instead of Vissa. In this system, as we'd seen a lot last season, and it may have been heightened by the fact that we're playing Chelsea, he's the one dropping in and linking the play, like as per his brilliant assist for the 3rd goal as well. But super performance, thoroughly deserved. I mean, 4-1 was a bit over the top in the end, but they deserved the victory. Literally no doubt about it. And when I was looking at Salah stats on Understat since New Year's Day, I found something really interesting about Chelsea. XG in 2022, Chelsea is 17th.
In the league?
Yep.
Wow.
Now, results haven't been bad. 1-5, drawn 2,
and
lost
2. And is that
2.
though they've played fewer games, right?
And you have to factor that in.
They missed the World Club Cup, they missed league games for the World Cup.
You do have to factor that in, of course you do. They've played 9 games, but then if you compare that, for example, so Chelsea's XG in the 9 games is 11.52. Tottenham's over 13 games is 27.53. So you're looking at Tottenham there posting over an average of 2 XG per game since the start of 2022, and Chelsea per game on average posting a little over 1. Compare that to, say, Arsenal played 10 games. Arsenal's XG is 14.35 to Chelsea's 11.52 with a game less. I really think that the injuries to Chilwell, and obviously Reece James has been in and out again, has really blown their hopes of trying to stay in, obviously, the title race, which was obviously gone before this week anyway. But in terms of the fact that they've drifted off. So they changed to a back 4 in the League Cup semi-final first leg against Tottenham, and it worked really well. It worked really well to the extent that it forced Conte, when they then played each other in the league, Conte to change to a back 4 as well. And they've kind of got stuck with it a little bit, because I don't think he's tried multiple solutions in the wing-back positions. We've even seen like Pulisic playing left wing-back and stuff. None of it works, but I still think it's the best system for this Chelsea team. I think it's better for them as centre-back, and I think it's better for them offensively as well. Doing things like, he seems to be trying to get something out of Ruben Loftus-Cheek at the moment as well. Didn't play overly badly, but he played as the kind of the deep lying of the midfield 3 on Saturday against Brentford. And Kante played to the left and Mount to the right for the majority of the game, which seems strange, because I really think of Mason Mount in them inside left channels. Yep. And I think of Kante running beyond from the right. So I don't know if it was something kind of pre-planned to prep for something against Real Madrid. It's possible. But that as a back 4, it's not working for them at the moment. It's harming them offensively, and clearly they're not creating in the way that you would hope. yes, of course they've played less games than everybody else. And when you average that per game, they're obviously higher up than 17th. But the XG per game is worse than all the others you would expect to be near the top of the table. I mean, compare that to Tottenham's, and I know we're on a run at the moment, but that's miles off.
Yeah, I mean, they've still got 5 points on you guys, haven't they? So,
Chelsea, I'm fairly certain.
Third is like an island of its own at the moment. I don't see.
I'm fairly certain Chelsea will finish third. That said, if they were to lose at Southampton at the weekend, and obviously if Tottenham and Arsenal were to win their 2 games in between, then the pressure goes on them a little bit before they play Arsenal themselves. But Chelsea, I'm certain, will still finish third. But it's making them, from an FPL perspective, you look at it currently on paper and go back-to-back doubles, 36, 37. What would you go to? Well, you're punting Havertz for the sake of punting Havertz because he's playing OOP.
No, with Chelsea, it's always reliability. And that Rudiger is top of that list and Mason Mount is second. And it's ironic that I'm mentioning the 2 Chelsea players that are currently in my squad.
Even that, if Chelsea get to the FA Cup final and the Champions League final, which they're obviously still very capable of doing, and they do have to play Manchester United and Leeds Tuesday and Thursday in 37, no one's going to play twice. Maybe Mendy? Honestly, if it's 3 days after an FA Cup final and then they've got Champions League the following weekend, he is not going to risk any important player playing twice in 3 days. No chance. You'd be free hitting him fucking Lukaku, mate.
Yeah. It was Leeds 1, Southampton 1. And I don't know if FPL Twitter's recovered from the Rafinha assist yet or not. But James Ward-Prowse top bins as he always does. 7 goals for the season for him. He scored 8 last season. He's Mr. Reliable from free kicks.
So XG since New Year's Day, 3rd highest, Leeds.
Well, that's not a surprise though, is it?
I think it is, yeah.
Rock and roll.
Because they've taken some batterings.
They have, but they always have chances. That's the thing, don't they? They always create opportunities. But yeah.
Their expected goals against is the worst by miles. But
I expected them to beat Southampton, if I'm honest with you, off the momentum of the win against Wolves.
Except for Norwich had cut them off the league table.
They don't count. They're in the Championship already, mate. But yeah,
unfortunately.
I thought Leeds would beat Southampton just because Southampton hadn't been cooking on gas, and Leeds would carry some momentum from the win against Wolves.
I didn't actually. I fancied Saints, but probably a bad read on the game in the sense that Hassan Hootel did something very different to what he normally does. I mean, essentially Southampton lined up basically in the diamond with Elianusi behind Adams and Breuer, and Diallo came into the team to kind of give it a stable 3 in there. I don't know if there was concerns about the rotation amongst Leeds front 4 at the moment that he wanted to firm that up, and he did change that again later in the game, and I didn't see a lot of it. Saints interesting with the double coming up. I think Breuer probably sticks for me, but I'm beginning to think you're probably right, Serge. Breuer, the points dodger, is what he really is. Rafinha, how you feeling about him, Serge?
I don't own him, so happy. I'm not going there.
He's Watford away for Leeds this week, and obviously if you're a Rafinha owner and you're happy with that, Watford have got the worst home record in the league. Then you've obviously got blank. Then you've got Palace, City, the double of Arsenal, Chelsea. They almost feel like a complete avoid to me, I think.
Yeah, I'm not going near Leeds between now and the end of the season. I can't see myself going there. I mean, Rafinha, it doesn't inspire any emotion in me to I'm missing out on points with him or anything like that. He can just as easily frustrate as he can pick up a fluky assist.
I think owners, unless they're free hitting in 33, will probably sell for something else. Would you consider Ward-Prowse as the replacement, bearing in mind he's got a double in 33? Arsenal at home, Burnley away.
Yeah. He's
and better fixtures for the next few game weeks afterwards.
One of the things that you talked about with Tom last week was like this: he's on corners or he's on set pieces or whatever else. So Ward-Prowse, because he's on corners and free kicks and set pieces, has that anytime, any place kind of. Yeah, I'm happy to have someone like Ward-Prowse. I get the argument you guys were making, like it's about the quality of the rest of the team and what type of set pieces and what have you. But JWP, I think, sits above that. I'm always happy to have JWP in. What's he priced at? 5.5, 6?
No, much more. So you'd have to have a chat. He's in the 6.5s, I think, to be honest with you, mate. But probably not too dissimilar price bracket to Rafinha if affordable.
6.4.
And what's Rafinha?
Rafinha
it's
is
the same,
6'5".
There you go. It's one to consider for the 33ers, I think, because you're right to not even worry about the fixtures so much with someone like JWP.
I like the fact that he's got the double, no doubt about it.
I mean, that free kick the weekend, it's not even anywhere near one of his best, to be honest.
No.
That's mundane for him.
Yeah.
Breuer, I think, will get some interest because of his price, and it kind of enables. Like, I keep hearing people talk about Cucho, for example, and I do think, if you're going into 33 and you're not free hitting, just pay a little bit more for Breuer with the double, and the fixtures are okay afterwards, where you can either play him or bench him. Just a note, I've seen a few talking about Fraser Forster actually as well. Alex McCarthy's back in full training as well.
Let's keep it moving then. Wolves 2, Aston Villa 1. I thought this was going to be a bit of a draw, 1-1. But not. And I think Wolves will feel a bit aggrieved about the penalty.
Oh, it's not a penalty.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
And I don't own any Wolves defensives, so I don't care.
Yeah, but I mentioned
Watkins get top bonus as well in that.
Watkins got top bonus as well.
Did he?
Johnny second.
He missed a big chance before the penalty as well at 2-0. Interestingly, like, if Villa do land with that double in 37, Watkins or Coutinho for captaincy is particularly if City didn't have the double as well. I think if City had the double, you'd probably go Cancelo or KDB or something if you're free hitting. But Villa's double 37, if that happens, Palace at home and Burnley at home, yeah, I'll free hit free Villa on that if that's what it lands with.
I'm highly likely to look at Wolves defensive on my wild card.
Really?
Yeah, but Burnley.
No,
they've got Burnley, Brighton, and Norwich. There's 3 of the 4. I can always bin them off for the last day of the season. It's not like after wildcard I don't have any transfers. But at 4.5, there's recency bias with Johnny because obviously he scored 2 goals and 2 clean sheets in the last 4. But there's also bias from when I owned him previously as a 4.5 million fullback, and he's always been ticking along nicely and does okay. I'm not talking about getting them now because they're blank in 33. But if I wildcarded in 34, 3 of the next 4 I think are decent. And if I can then have the additional game against City as a free hit as part of a double, and then I'll bin him off for the Liverpool game in the last day of the season. But by then the league title might be done, you know.
You won't be buying a Wolves player.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't think he's bad value at 4.5 at all.
No, well, Semedo's back fit, so that's a problem.
Yeah, but Johnny's better than him.
Nico Semedo, cousin of Nelson Semedo, behind the camera is shaking his head. Although Nico, I probably agree with Serge. But actually, no, Semedo's been decent this season, actually. The other side, we got the Markow 8 Nori thing never fucking ends. So Markow played this week rather than 8 Nori. You've got Saiss finally got dropped. Kiln had been dropped a couple of weeks ago. Cody's the only one who's absolutely nailed there now at the back. And in terms of you saying, okay, yeah, then fixtures, Burnley, Brighton, 34, 35, you ain't starting. I'm telling you, you get a Wolves defender, you get Cody, whatever, you're not starting them because the other options for other teams in those weeks are so good. 34, you're not going to have unless you wildcard then, which you could do, but you're not going to start. Let's say they get the double in 36 of Chelsea and Man City. You want a Wolves defender on your bench boost as part of that.
It's a bench boost, isn't it? So
yeah, but it's a bench boost of fucking 2 points, mate.
Yeah, when they've got Champions League semis a week before and what have you. I don't.
You know what I say about the bench boost, right? If you've got 4 players, you've got 2 fixtures, 4 times 4 should be 16 points is kind of your target, right? Wolves defend, what are you targeting there that week? 1 point?
No, but you can pick up an attack in return.
You could. They don't often enough, do they?
You just made the case that Chelsea are crap going forward. They've got no XG.
Yeah.
Wolves, the third best defensive team in the league.
I just think from an FPL perspective, the moment's gone. I did look at Fabio Silva's price, actually, and it's more than I hoped it would be. It's 5.6. He was really good for them at the weekend. They've also got Neves missing at the moment as well.
Yes, he's out for a little while, right, at the moment. So
he's hoping to be back in May, so he could be back for that period. Probably not an FPL option because there'll be other players at similar value of more interest at the time. But no, I think you're at the point where you can sell your Wolves players. I mean, take this week as an example, right? If you had Wolves defender, who's your cheapest defender at the moment?
Benjamin Johnson.
Right. So let's just say you had Cody sitting there as well. And we know Johnson missed the game this weekend. What would you play? Would you play Johnson at Newcastle? Would you play Cody away to Newcastle?
Johnson, Newcastle.
Johnson away to Brentford, or Cody away to Newcastle.
I played Johnson away to Brentford.
This is my point. There's no. If you're going to go budget that way, don't go for a Wolves player. Go something cheaper.
Let's talk about Man United 1, Leicester 1. Rarely do I get score. Go on.
Villa, just really importantly, because Lee Jackson go absolutely mental if I don't mention it. Marvelous Nakamba played an hour, I think, for the under-23s. And there's every chance he'll go straight back in the team against Tottenham. That will make them defensively a little bit more stable. Douglas Luiz didn't start at the weekend. It's thought he might be off in the summer. Off you go.
When we make score predictions, they're rarely right because we don't know what we're talking about most of the time. It's predictions, right? But this one, I just didn't see Man United beating Leicester, and 1-1 doesn't surprise me. They've got enough to probably beat Leicester, but they're not that. Manchester United just not. Manchester United,
I got back Saturday. I missed the first 10 minutes or so, and by half time, honestly, I wanted to stick pins in my eyes, mate. It was that first half was so bad. And it was literally enjoyable watching Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Honestly, I thought he was so good, Suj. I'd actually go as far to say his calmness on the ball makes him, and it might need a few injuries, he's an outside shot to go Qatar. Honestly. Really good talent. I don't know if he's English. I haven't checked. No, I don't think there's a lot of players in that space like him who plays a more advanced role. He's kind of not typically English. He doesn't do anything that's particularly flash. Give him the ball. He's always on the half turn. His first touch is always controlled. He doesn't look like he's got big body strength, but people don't seem to be able to dispossess him and get the ball off him. He just ticks things over really nicely. And then look at his minutes surge in terms of when he plays. He's always playing as well. And that's helpful at the moment. Obviously, no doubt, if you go and invest in him now, he probably won't. But it's worth saying that his importance to the team is such, I think he definitely plays them Conference League games now. But if I was wildcarding now and going, say, Dewsbury Hall or Ramsey, definitely Dewsbury Hall at the moment with Leicester's fixtures coming up. You'd chance that, I think. So he's on radar as a potential enabler for me for the wildcard. I thought Maddison was great. It was the best I've seen of him for a really long time. He had a real impact on the game. The cross for the equaliser, phenomenal.
It was I don't know why that the winner was disallowed.
It's a foul.
Where? They're on the floor tussling.
No, I'm not having it. It's a foul.
I didn't think it was a foul.
It's a foul. He sweeps his leg. It's really soft, but Varane's foot is completely planted on the floor. And although I think it was completely unintentional, as Iheanacho's trying to go and play the ball, he sweeps his leg.
I need to watch a replay. I will take it that I didn't watch it.
If he'd kicked him, you'd go, well, he's kicked him. You don't have to kick someone to foul them, right? He's accidentally, admittedly, completely swipes his foot away from his body. And he's ended up doing a really poor version of the splits. Okay, yes, he fakes the injury. He's not hurt or anything. But did he foul him? Yes. It was correct to rule out the goal. James Maddison should really take note of... I think that's about the third time now he's gone off doing wild celebrations and the goal's been cancelled out against him.
VAR.
But he's interesting, and I think as we go forward in weeks, Maddison versus Barnes is going to become a real debate. At the moment, I mean, we probably can't do it till we sit in kind of Friday week after the Europa Conference quarter-final against PSV is gone to have a clearer indication of what we'd want from... And the defensive situation has got so muddied.
Are they favourites against PSV? Do you think?
Yeah.
They should be. PSV
I would make them favourites. I mean, it's probably a fairly close call, but I would make them favourites. Obviously, Fofana and Evans both played at the weekend, and Amati is not. I think he's so limited, but he's done quite well from this season. But Evans goes off and United equalise a minute later, and Amati's head is not in the game yet. You can tell he's not alert to what's happening around him, and it cost them a win that really they deserved. You've got Pereira's coming back to fitness now. James Justin, I thought, was really good at right back. Castagna's playing left back, but Thomas has been favoured so much. It's so murky now. We could have done with these doubles for Leicester when they had all these injury problems. We've got nearly everyone back fit now. Jamie Vardy, game week 36, if they've gone out of Europe and if he's back fit, that might be the one where I really swing hard against Salah.
Yep.
That double. Everton and Norwich at home.
West Ham 2, Everton 1 was also pretty dull.
Yeah, I watched the first half and went to Tottenham, mate.
Yeah.
It wasn't great.
It was, I think, from an Everton point of view, I mean, West Ham were there for the taking. And Everton weren't like awful, but the fact that they couldn't then put it to bed, and I understand they lost Van der Beek in the warm-up, and you got Mason Holgate playing in there out of position and whatever else. They did create the chances, or they kind of were threatening, I would say, without just cocking up the end product. And you never really feel like, if Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison get in, you never feel so you fear that he's going to finish it here or we're in trouble here. They're like, they've had a little go there, really. And I think Everton must be really worried. But West Ham weren't great.
I don't think there's any Everton fans that think they're going to stay up. You know that?
Mate, it's just, I look at it and I'm like, I don't think you're going to score enough goals. I'm like, all right, Calvert-Lewin is a good Premier League striker, and should they get relegated, you know he's going to move on. But then I look at it and I'm like, are Damari Gray, Doucouré and Iwobi going to give him what he needs to be able to put the ball in the back of the net? I don't think they've got enough creativity in there to make it happen.
Iwobi, and I only really watched the first half. Iwobi played century, right? Basically played kind of 4-1-4-1 with Holgate sitting up deeper than Doucouré and Iwobi. I'm looking at, wow, Iwobi, central midfield. But actually, I just judge it normal. And actually, I thought he was working up and down really nicely from... He's at fault for the winning goal, wasn't he?
No.
It's like an inevitability.
I mean, when obviously Creswell's free kick, it had that feeling that he was going to... When he lined it up, I thought he's going to score it.
You know Cresswell's from Liverpool?
Yeah.
Did you get the feeling he was a Liverpool fan rather than an Everton fan? Yeah. Did that strike you as a possibility?
Yeah, I felt like he was going to score when he put the ball down. I don't know, we always talk about Jordan Pickford's got short arms or whatever else, but...
I'll leave poor Jordan.
The winning goal, the defensive line, like it just felt like you can't defend like that. If you're at the bottom of the table and you let Antonio run in like that, and you've left acres of space, you're going to lose games of football. I think for West Ham, it was kind of like a run out before Leon. Bowen gets some minutes again. He managed to get 60, 70 minutes under his belt. Antonio ran the channels, not particularly great, but did a job enough. Benrahma was okay. Everybody got a bit of a run out before Leon. That's all it felt like, really, to me. We weren't good.
I heard, and I didn't watch the second half, I heard Antonio was great second half.
He caused them trouble.
In terms of his hold-up play.
If he's on it and he can turn defenders, then yeah, he's always... But the thing is, like... You're talking about him coming up against Kenny and Michael Keane and stuff like that. I mean, I reckon you and me could probably do a bit of a job against them.
Having seen some of the boys in the South team, I think we yeah, maybe so. That's going to get the North worried, isn't it? Fuck it. I think I haven't ruled out buying Bowen this week.
6.8.
Because I look at it and go...
We talked about Ward-Prowse at 6.4, Rafinha at 6.5. It's not a stretch to get back to Bowen at 6.8.
Well, it's Brentford, Burnley the next two, then I'd want to move on again, I think.
The only thing putting me off is like the 2 Leon games in between are massive for us. Why am I using that word? I think it's ingrained in our bloody brains, tattooed in there now, but it's so big. I think you'll know a lot after Thursday night. You can leave that transfer until Friday, right? We'll know a lot after Thursday night. If we can pick up like a good win, 2 or 3-0 or something like that, then I feel you'd be a bit more confident, because we can go away to Leon and just keep it tight, and play on the counter, which will play to our strengths against Leon. So I think you'll know a lot by Friday.
Yeah, that's fair. I wouldn't consider anything else West Ham. Johnson was left out precautionary, so he could be back in, but Soufal...
He's also
ready
available
to
return
now,
which is good news.
Yeah, so I mean, that's everyone fit and Bonner, isn't it? I think
Bonner, yeah.
Yep. Which you're going to need over this period. That's really important for these. You've still got a good. I wouldn't rule you out a top 4. It looks really tough now, but you still want to get into Europe for next season. So I don't think there's eyes off the ball.
Give me 6, finishing above United, and
definitely,
will take it.
Definitely, the priority is the Lyon game.
Yeah.
And if you end up with a semi-final with Barcelona, that's going to prove extremely distracting.
Can you...
As you've still got to play Arsenal in the run-in, I want you to go out of Europe. Because I don't want you to have the playing Barcelona around the time you play Arsenal.
No, I get that. I understand that completely. Let's not count our chickens.
I also dislike you. I hope you lose.
Everton, though, yeah. I can. Burnley are going to beat them tomorrow. I really think Burnley are going to beat them tomorrow.
I think that the problems they've had with the Allen suspension and the defensive issues, I know we joke about Michael Keane, but it's not helpful because what is he good at? He's decent in the air. This is really not helpful, actually. I think they'll probably get beat tomorrow. And then with Burnley going to Norwich Sunday, it's really squeaky. Would you consider Fernandes or Ronaldo for the captaincy this week? Away to Everton?
Not Ronaldo. Just lack of reliability.
I think
Fernandes, sure.
I think Ronaldo is going to be really popular game week 33 captain. I think quite a lot of people are going to dive on and off for Kane.
Yeah. Just before we get on to the Spurs game, going back to Wolves Villa, my favourite tweet of the weekend was from Wolves, the official Wolves account, when they tweeted the team, we're going with an all-Portuguese front three today, which is for Silva, Trincao and, was it Podence or something? I'm like, half your squad's Portuguese. It's like you've got a 50% chance that your team's going to be... I'm like, what about your goalkeeper? Neves obviously clearly didn't play, but I'm like, half your squad's Portuguese. Like, you've got an all-Portuguese front three. There's a 50% chance that that's going to happen any given week.
Are you expecting that tomorrow night Burnley are going to tweet out, we're going with an all-British backline?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is just bizarre. I'm like, okay, I understand, yeah. But that's regularly the case with you guys. But yeah, interesting.
I'm still convinced that they'll stay up, by the way. Everton. I think those fixtures at the end, they'll win a few of them.
We shall see.
And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we get something against United at the weekend, because United are just so sloppy at the moment. I think the best thing Everton can do is just try and make that high tempo and see what happens. Tomorrow they need to just dig in. If they come out with 0-0 tomorrow night, that's a great result.
After our game, I spent the first 20-25 minutes watching yours before I had to leave the pub and go elsewhere. But to be honest, it was one of those where I was like, Spurs are doing all right here. They're getting in, they're creating chances. Nothing of like outstanding clear-cut quality, but you could see that you're building up a head of steam, followed by Cher's goal. And I'm like, that was fun. And then left, and then obviously clearly you went on and smashed them 5-1. Tell me what happened in the last however many minutes after I stopped watching. It was inevitable that you were going to beat them because of the way the first 20 minutes were. Yeah,
it's interesting. Couple of things. Firstly, 30 seconds into the game, I realised we had a big problem. That Newcastle were going to play very differently against us to how you played against us, which was obviously our previous league game. They were not going to allow the ball into Højbjerg and Bentancur at all. The front three really went and pressed up against Tottenham's midfield. And it took Tottenham a really long time to work out that they needed to go more direct. And when we say direct, we don't mean just lump it up to Kane. We look for diagonals, look for the wing backs. Even the equaliser straight away happens with a ball into Doherty, who then plays Son away, who obviously runs off and then wins the corner. Because Tottenham weren't able to play through Newcastle in the way they were able to play through you. And then the second half, after the goals came, that changed, and we could have got any sort of goals in the second half. But it's full credit to Newcastle where they started. It was interesting at half time. 1-1 was about right. I didn't feel like we played badly in the first half. Nah. And I was looking at it and going, I think Newcastle tactically have got this right. And I think just what happened was the second goal came so early in the second half that it really shot them for confidence a little bit. And then Spurs, like the old Pochettino team, kind of smelt blood and just went for it. The third goal, I know there's been a lot said about Newcastle players kind of dropping in and going into the space with Kane when he drops off. But the way that Tottenham players just run beyond him now, it's genuinely so exciting to watch. And then he's the one you want making the pass. The pass for Kulusevski for the third goal when he goes down the wing and then crosses for Son is so good. Because, and I know Jamie Carragher highlighted this last night about his vision he was looking. Kane was going to pass to Son and clocked that Son was offside, and then plays it to Kulusevski, and then they're obviously away. Son then's not interfering, which I think's wrong because you're in an offside position. Then even at the back post, if Son didn't score, Doherty was going to score.
Sure.
And is that as well, like Doherty's fitness getting so much better and stuff. Both wing-backs scoring for the 4th goal. So they got pulled out. I mean, in the end, Eddie Howe went, sod this. Like, and he took Wood off and brought Lascelles on, right? Just like damage limitation. Yeah. When we're in full flow at the moment, I mean, many of you will have seen the stats. Like, it's most goals scored in 2022 now. But it's really changed since the Man City game. If you look at the league results since the Man City game, or even including the Man City game, we lost at Burnley, which was one of their things. It was shit weather night. They scored a set-piece goal. The game was very even. That can happen. At Old Trafford, we were unlucky. I thought we were the better side, in all honesty. So the performances in the league, if we can remove shit like Middlesbrough from my life, then Middlesbrough could do with removing from a lot of people's lives. Welcome back next year, Chris Wilder. I mean that with all honesty. I won't look forward to playing you twice. The performances have been getting better and better for a while. And the midfield two are playing so well now. Højbjerg and Bentancur. They've got this same thing going on where the ball comes into them and they try and wrap it into the forwards really quickly and they're on the move. The whole team is constantly in the move and in sync when it attacks now. And honestly, it's a real pleasure to watch them at the moment. That 20 minutes at the start of the second half, it's genuinely really, really good stuff. This is the best Tottenham have played. This period now is the best we've played since the back end of 2018. We really look like we can go and dominate teams. Like, I'm going into game. You know what I'm like with Tottenham. I'm generally quite pessimistic about it.
Not at the moment.
Genuinely, really going into games. Feel like we're going to do stuff.
Bottom line is, when you're scoring goals, you got a chance in any game, right? And that's the thing.
Well, the front three now are
on fire.
Quality,
absolutely on fire. Crystal Palace 3, Arsenal 0. I was on a plane for the entirety of this game. I landed, and then as you're getting out, I open up Twitter and I saw our friend Clayton, one of our patrons, FPL Gooner, 1886, whatever it is. Sorry, I've butchered your handle. Said this is the worst. This is the worst 28 minutes from Arsenal I've seen in ages, or something. So then I opened up SofaScore and saw they were 2-0 down. I'm like, all right, fine. But they ended up 3-0, and I bet my first thought was Jane's going to be happy because this top 4 race is properly on now.
Obviously, I'm more happy for Tottenham reasons than Arsenal losing.
As in the top 4, not because they're losing.
That obviously makes me happy as well. There's no point lying about it.
But it makes the top 4 race genuinely on now.
Well, I think it was on anyway because of the form we've shown recently.
Yeah, of course. But they still had the games in hand.
But they've been playing really well as well. I think.
To put it down to a blip then?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could spend ages talking about this game. Like, Arsenal have been doing really well lately. Clearly, the Tierney injury destabilised them. One of the things we've been saying on the Tottenham podcast about Tottenham v Arsenal for top 4 is it really might come down to who keeps their players fit, right? Tierney's season looks like it might be over, and obviously Partey got injured before the 3rd goal, and that's a monster blow because he's linking them really well at the moment. So those injuries are a real concern. Tomiyasu's close. I think what they'll do, a lot of people say, Nuno Tavares, people saw 45 minutes and Nuno Tavares, what is he, 4.1 or 4.2, and then decided, I don't want to do that. Obviously, Xhaka went and played left back, kind of inverted for the majority of the second half. That kind of became a back 3 later in the game, which concerningly saw Bukayo Saka play left wing back, which should be a concern to fantasy managers in case that happens again. I don't think it will. I think the more likely thing they'll do is if they can get Tomiyasu fit, they'll move Cedric to left back.
Yep.
And they'll play Tomiyasu at right back. Because with Partey's injury, they've got to put Xhaka back in the middle of the pitch. So I think what they'll do, they'll go 4-1-4-1 in the majority of games now. So Xhaka will have to play the Partey role. He may give Lokonga the time. I know he's really highly rated, and what I've seen of him looks a good player, but it's real pressure to play that role. I think they'll play Xhaka and he'll play more of the sitting role. My talking tactics from a couple of weeks ago on Xhaka, you can now put that in the bin until next season, probably. It's a waste of time. And I think they'll play Smith Rowe and Odegaard as 8s and Saka and Martinelli off of Lacazette. And if they go that way, they still have a strong starting 11. The problem is now they're going to be quite weak in terms of potentially having an impact in terms of game changes and stuff. If they want to alter that system, go, oh shit, the other team's playing with 2 8s as well. Xhaka's getting done over here. Can they afford to drop Odegaard or Smith Rowe into kind of a deep lying midfield role? Difficult to say. I guess at that point they would use Lokonga. So you may see him in and out the team. if Partey's out for the season, I think that's an even bigger blow to them than Tierney, actually. I really do.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Tierney, him being injured obviously destabilised them from the start. I think Palace would have beaten most teams last night in terms of the way they started. Like Gallagher, he's such a pest, mate. Did you watch the game?
No, I was on a plane, mate.
Gallagher, I don't know how many passes he had, but it was like 15, 20 passes in the game or something. But it felt like he was on the ball all the time because he just never stops. Presses the back line all game long. But when he does it, you feel like he's going to get it as well. He's not doing it half-hearted or anything. Mateta was good up front. He's an interesting one down the line in terms of enabler. I think Wilfried Zaha's a player that I'll potentially consider in terms of part of a bench boost down the line as well, or rather the wild card period at the end. I think for Arsenal, they've got to just get over it. And I thought Arteta spoke really well after the game in terms of saying, like, look, no excuses, got to own it, didn't play well, move on to the next one. And Arsenal could not have picked a better fixture than what they've got this weekend in Brighton at home. Because at the moment, they're in a flat moment. The only thing with Brighton is they do have the capability at any time against, ironically, the best teams in this league to suddenly keep the ball and pass you to death. And you're like, what's going on here? I know they're quite weak. But I don't think Brighton are in a good moment mentality-wise at the moment in terms of either
they keep
their
losing,
domination of
not
games.
winning games.
Was it
mate,
2 points in 8 now or something? So it's a good fixture for Arsenal as long as they can get domination of the ball at the weekend. You would expect them to get back to winning ways and winning. I think it probably leaves us right now with Saka and Martinelli as the two really options. I think, ironically, the Partey injury, where people might have been concerned going into the game last night, thinking, Martinelli's back out the team, Smith-Rowe started the last two, it might get Martinelli
back in there.
He's actually.
Real great shout, 5.3.
And actually might make Smith-Rowe quite interesting as well, depending on what you got to be careful with is how they set up against Brighton this weekend doesn't necessarily tell you how they're going to set up away to Southampton and Chelsea in a double, I'm afraid to say. So I'm not sure it's going to give you real clues for what happens next. But I think the idea for majority of games will be for them to go 4-1, 4-1 and go quite brave, actually. I think he'll do that, Arteta. I'm obviously delighted they got beat.
Yeah.
Goes without saying. But this wasn't... Ironically, in the audiobook I did for the patrons last week, I was talking about Tottenham's last season at White Hart Lane. The only Arsenal game I really speak about in depth, other than the games against Tottenham, was when they lost 3-0 at Crystal Palace on a Monday night this week, 5 years ago. And that night, they were disgraceful. They weren't that bad last night. No. And 3-0 was lopsided. Palace deserved to win. It wasn't quite a 3-0 game, though. I mean, Arsenal had a number of efforts where they could have scored, particularly in the second half. Probably 2-1 would have been more about right. So it's not a disaster. They need to get over it. We've seen Palace have great results this season, right? 4 points against City. Frightened the knife out of Liverpool. Battered Tottenham 3-0 at home earlier in the season as well. Not a team that many people will enjoy playing against, I think. And Chelsea, honestly, if Palace play against Chelsea like they played against Arsenal, and Chelsea play against Palace like they played against Brentford, Palace will beat them in that cup semi-final.
Yep. Good. That's a wrap of the games. Obviously, we'll touch on Burnley Everton on Friday. The plan on Friday is to go very heavily more into chip strategy around free hits for 33 and 36 and 37, and if you still have your bench boost as well. A number of the questions that we had in on Twitter are about that, so we'll kind of revisit the tweet to look at the chip specific questions for sure. Let's wrap the content for the rest of the week, James. What are we looking at today? Feels funny because it's Tuesday. So we've got Champions League for the patrons today.
Champions League and Patreon today. Yeah. Tomorrow will be Sky Fantasy Football. So just given up, apparently.
I haven't given up. I'm waiting for May.
Did you listen to the pod with Ian?
I did. I was blown away.
He's a brilliant mind, isn't he?
You know, like you told me to have a listen to it, and obviously fixture planning is all well and good. I just never ever thought about this first pick, second pick, Sky, BT, how they did. It just was not anywhere on my radar of like, this is why fixtures fall this way. But obviously they are all very politically trying to do each other over and get games and have to play it like a game of chess over a season. Never even thought about any of the stuff that he started talking about. It was, really interesting.
And
if you haven't listened to it...
And after that, BT got Liverpool v Tottenham in 36 anyway. Strange.
Yeah, anyone that's not listened to it, and even if you're just fascinated about how fixtures get planned from an FPL point of view, the first half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah, genuinely, I really would. It is a Sky Fantasy pod, but the beef of the podcast is about basically how TV games are picked. Yeah. And I think with what's going on at the moment, when will United, Chelsea be, that sort of thing, I think you'll find that quite interesting. Obviously, it's a week old, so it's a little bit dated in terms of the fixtures. Patron tomorrow, Tottenham, Suj. We might enjoy this one. You never know.
We both won.
I think we'll talk about your experience in
Everton
with the West Ham fan club out there.
Everton is in the rearview mirror, mate. We'll talk about the Dubai Hammers. It's all about Leon, mate. But
there's plenty of things I want to talk about Tottenham, including another brilliant Christian Romero performance, by the way, on Sunday. Thursday, clash of correspondence: Brentford versus West Ham with Tom Med and Chris Stone. We're going to do our Q&A for patrons on Thursday this week. Friday, we're going to do the strategy pod for the guys. It'll probably mainly free hit focus, but we'll probably cover some of your cues from here. And differential show Game Week 32 preview on Patreon on Friday. As I said, the advanced tier content this week includes a look at how Brentford won at Chelsea at the weekend.
Nice. I'm going to end the pod with a few questions on Twitter, and as always, I'm going to look at the ones.
I'm actually going to answer all these questions for the advanced tier patrons as well.
If anybody's ever interested in joining our Patreon, there's no better time to do it. One of the advanced tier bits of content James does is always the unanswered questions, which goes through this tweet specifically and answers them all. Non-football related ones, James. I don't even know how long we've been chatting for. Oh, plenty long.
Why did I think you were going to look then? You're going to go, oh shit, it's not recording.
Let me check. No. Fantasy football nerd. I think we've had this question before, so I'm going to ask it again for a specific reason. It says, hey mate, if you were offered a serious and long-term life-changing job analysing and scouting for Arsenal, would you take it? The fact that we had it before makes me feel like there's a recruitment agent. This guy's a recruitment agent and just sniffing around trying to see.
I would absolutely take the salary and then mug it off.
You'd get fired though, mate, if you kept.
I'd take the salary ringers for a
bit. This one's a good one from Pierre. If you both had to wear every day till the end of your life, every time you left the house, the home shirt of a current Premier League team, it says FPL team, but I'm sure it means Premier League team, that is not your own club, which one would you pick and why?
I would pick Norwich because it's very inoffensive.
I'd go. I thought about it, right? Yeah, Norwich. You want one that's not going to get you in a fight anywhere. But I've got a better answer for you, James. The Newcastle shirt. Although that's getting controversial now because of the Saudi takeover.
No noise from the Saudi boys. Yeah, noise from the Saudi boys.
Take the Saudi Arabia piece out of it, because everybody loves Newcastle fans, and wherever you go, people always Geordies are always up for a pint. If you turned up in a Geordie shirt,
do you know what?
Geordies are top lads, right? If you meet someone in a Newcastle shirt, you know they're going to be a good laugh because Geordies are generally good crap.
I've met some bad ones, but they are such genuinely.
I haven't met enough.
Welcoming people. You know when they say about don't wear your colours away from home.
Yeah.
And to be honest, when we got beat their last game of the season a few years back, we got battered. Spent the weekend up there, and you are right. They are such hospitable people and will welcome you. They don't mind that you're Tottenham as long as you don't get in their face.
Of course,
they'll have a drink with you and stuff. And they were going down as well, so they could have been arsey about stuff, but they weren't. And then obviously after the game, you go back and drink with them, and you've got to take the bad. You've been battered, haven't you?
But that's why I think the Geordie shirt is not a bad one.
But it did feel. It was interesting when I got off the train. It was about an hour before kickoff on Sunday, and I did think I was on the high road. I was thinking, a lot of fucking Newcastle fans there. It's because they all wear the shirts, don't they?
Yeah.
They have to.
With pride. Or Burnley. I think the problem with wearing the Burnley shirt wherever you go is you'd spend like 80% of your time having to explain to people whose shirt it is.
Plus, as we learnt, Burnley don't have an away kit.
Nah. Matt, this is a really weird question, James, but I'm going to ask it anyway. If Newcastle owners had bought West Ham and they became title contenders year in, year out, would you consider them a rival on the same level as Arsenal are to Spurs? I was like, the reason I didn't get the question is because initially when I read it, I was like, Arsenal are not title contenders, so how are they rival. But I guess what he means is you've got the North London rivalry versus then the rivalry. I don't think geographically it'd be impossible. And also you've got about 100 years worth of
nothing will ever be bigger for
whenever
Tottenham
they move from South London.
Never be bigger than the Arsenal game. You could be the richest club in the world. You could win the league 10 years in a row. It wouldn't make a difference.
What about if Enfield Town made it? Because they're geographically closer than.
To be honest,
Arsenal.
we'd want them to do well. That's different.
No, but if they're competing against you in the Premier League, right at the top.
Did you know Foster's has got a football team?
They're geographically closer. No, I didn't know.
Should we buy them?
Should we buy them?
Yeah.
What league are they in?
I don't know, but I didn't even know they had a football stadium. They do. I went past it the other day. It's right near the tube station. This means nothing, so I realise 99.9% of the listeners.
Do you want to buy a football club?
Well, yeah, the way you were making it, I think Enfield Town's going to be a bit ambitious. Should we buy Should we buy Cock Fosters?
We need to end this pod because I need to go and do some investigation on Cock Fosters. Having said that, it's a reasonable shout and segue into wrapping the pod with kit sponsors. I mean, we're supporting the South team. That's a starter for the North v South.
And we're not
Gameweek 39.
The North team as well, no?
We're supporting their kit as well, but don't worry, they're getting shit kit, mate.
The North team is going to get mugged of us, and they're going to have our mug on them.
Fucking no, it's going to be like brown, shit coloured. Gameweek 39. We should give a shout because it's approaching up super quick. And the guys have obviously put a lot of effort, Benny and Co, into putting it together. If you can make it down to Birmingham to actually come and watch the game for a £5, then definitely do, because it would be really good. And if you can't support the charity in every which way, Street Child United, they're doing a lot of work actually. They're sending money and doing bits in Qatar pre-World Cup for helping underprivileged kids there and what have you. Trying to get.
Are they doing that? Are they doing virtual tickets?
Well, you can't. The game's not going to be streamed.
No, but like Marine, when Marine played Tottenham, and obviously the fans couldn't go, they did virtual tickets. Benny, do virtual tickets as well for people who can't attend.
But yeah, it's going to be a great event, and it's really nice to see the community coming together for it. Obviously, I was away, so I missed this training session. The photos just looked like comedy, but was it any good? Well, are they good players?
Yeah,
who came down? Raptor, I saw. Jury come down?
Good crowd. The Iceman, he's a tank, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he's got a shot on him, the Iceman.
Nice. Sham, any good in goal?
Yeah, not bad, Sham, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, pretty good.
You feel confident with the...
To be honest, it was a nice mix of blend of different skill sets between the squad, actually.
Good. Is there another training session? Don't know.
Will you turn up for it?
I will if I'm in the country.
Because they keep saying to me, where does Suj play? And I'm like, I think sub's probably a good idea.
Nah, trust me. There's fantasy... Gameweek 39 as well, which I noticed went live while I was away. You're priced at 5 million. I'm priced at 4.5.
And that's why your ownership's higher than mine. I don't know why I'm 5 million.
I don't even know what my ownership is, but...
You're in about like a third of teams, mate.
Where do you see the stats and data?
On gaffer.io.
Okay, yeah. If you log in and what have you. I was gonna put it out there and say something like that. For anybody that buys me and starts me in their first 11. You can't just leave me bench fodder as third on your bench.
You're getting 1 point.
25p. I'm going to donate to Street Child. But then Benny told me there's only 300 teams registered. So I was like, this is going to be a problem. I end up with like 1,000 teams. But if you love the pod and you love me and James, buy us both and play us. And you won't regret it.
No, don't buy either of us. And support us on patreon.com/Planet FPL. And please support Gameweek 39 for Street Child United.
Indeed, do. More information, you can find them all over Twitter. Just search Gameweek 39 and do so. Other than that, we'll be back the rest of the week with a whole bunch of content. Make sure you hit the bell, subscribe, notification, like, whatever else you need to do to support the show. And patreon.com/Planet FPL is where you can find out about the additional content as well. Stay safe, look after yourselves. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Be nice to each other. Cue music, please, man child.